My story today for our read aloud, the boys might really enjoy this one, is called Tremendous Tractors. And I love reading this one when Abigail and Madeline and Eleanor come over to play. They pick this book up and they love looking at it. Even though the girls are really interested yet in tractors and cars, and that's a lot of fun. And so before I read this book, I wanted to take a look. It's going to be a storybook, but it also is a nonfiction book. So there's going to be a lot of new information in this book, telling us about different parts of a tractor in words. So I thought instead of starting at the front of the story today, I would start at the back of the story so that you could see some of these new words that we would find maybe in our story. So it's all about the tractor parts, and then you can be on the lookout for them as we read. So this, of course, is the tire, and it says has chunky treads to help the wheel grip on the bumpy or slippery ground. So the treads are this outside part, the big grooves inside the tire. The bale fork, and this is for lifting those bales of hay or straw and moving them all around the farmyard. Seed drill. It sometimes has small grooves in the ground for planting the seeds. So they need those holes. And this part right here is called the hopper. It holds the seeds and then blows them out in the rows out of this tube. And then spikes. These move through the ground to cover the seeds after they drop. So they come out through this hopper, through the holes down here, and then the spike lifts that dirt and covers them, sort of like a blanket. And then there's the blade, and it says a plow has sharp blades or shears to cut into the ground and turn over the soil. And another name for dirt is the soil. So there's a few other words in our book that you're going to hear that you wonder, what are they? One is sowing the seed. And sowing is another word for planting. And furrows. Furrows means just rows going down in the field. I have a little list here. Threshes. Threshes means where you would pound and smash part of that hay or wheat and get the top part off, and that's the part, the seed part, where you want it. And then crops, another name for vegetables that they're harvesting in the field. So we can get started now that we maybe know a little bit more about our book. Tremendous Tractors by Tony Minton and Aunt Parker. Tremendous tractors. And tremendous, think about that for a minute. What would be another word for tremendous? Now we can't turn and talk to our neighbor to tell them our ideas, but maybe you can talk with mom and dad for a minute. What is another word for tremendous? Maybe you came up with enormous, giant, big, large, all other words for tremendous tractors. Let's get started. Tremendous, chunky tractors, so sturdy and so strong, hitching up to farm machines and pulling them along. Their big black tires have solid treads, ooh, there's that word, that help them not to slip. These chunky treads can chew the ground and get the wheels to grip. A tractor works on farmland, so its body must be tough. It sits high above the ground, for farmland can be rough. To grow their crops, that means all their vegetables, the farmers have to start by sowing seed. Do you remember what that means? Planting the seeds. But first, to break the ground up, a plow is what they need. Here are those big blades. A tractor pulls the plow across the field, up and down. The plow blades cut the soil into furrows, rich and brown. If you look really close, you can see that they showed that there are lines down here in the field. Those are the furrows. A tractor hauls the harrow next to break the soil some more. That's what this machine is. Disc harrows crush the clods up. That's what a harrow's for. So all those clumps, they crumble, crumble, crunch, break those hard pieces of the soil or the dirt up so it's nice and smooth. It's time to use the roller now, a tube that rolls along, rumble, 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 for flattening the field, pushing stones beneath the ground. So if there's any stones on the top, they want them to go down deep. They don't want them to sit on top. That's not going to be good soil or dirt for the seeds to grow. A seed driller has a hopper, a seed box that you fill. When it's time for planting, the tractor pulls the drill. The seed drill makes a row of grooves in which the seeds can drop. The spikes then rake a covering of soil across the top. Here you can really see how that's happening, where the seed comes down out of those tubes, and then these are those spikes that's going to cover the dirt over those seeds. When a hay crop's fully grown, the mower comes and mows. It cuts the grass and leaves it out to dry in tidy rows. It's a lot bigger mower than your dad would use when he starts mowing the lawn outside. Later on, a baler scoops the stalks up from the ground and shapes them into bales, which are bundles, square or round. A lot of them right here are showing square ones where you can stack them up maybe in the barn. Those big round ones you see maybe along the field when you're driving in your car, and they're too big to fit up in the barn, so they stay outside in the field, maybe with a covering of a white plastic over top. A bale of hay is so heavy, it's so very hard to lift. A bale fork is on a tractor, makes it easier to shift. If the crop's a grain crop, when harvest time is here, a great big combine does the job and gets the whole crop clear. So this is called the combine here. It cuts the stalks and threshes them. That means mush them up and squish them and take the seeds off the top to knock the grain all out. Then spreads the straw behind it as the grain spills from the spout. So the tractor's pulling the big wagon that's holding all the grain pieces, but this is the combine that's cutting that tall wheat or hay. Mostly wheat, I think Mr. Bohl would say. A tractor with a trailer shifts bales of straw or hay, takes food to hungry animals, or carries crops away. The tractor and the farmer work hard and do their best, so when the day is over, they both deserve a rest. You can see they're busy pulling up some carrots and pumpkins. Must be more in the fall time. And that was the end of our story. I hope that you enjoyed Tremendous Tractors, and maybe you have some of those down in your basement and you can act that out and play showing all the things that a tractor does out on the farm. Have a great day today, Kinders.